So yesterday, a local guy here that I met literally just biking through town, and people are always fascinated about my story while I'm biking with all my setup. He offered me some help because, I'm stuck here and he's a nice guy. So I ordered the battery to his house and it got delivered yesterday. He delivered it to me yesterday to my camp spot, which was so generous. So this is not a Jackery, it's Rock Pals. It's the same brand as my solar panels because it's cheaper than Jackery. And now that I'm using it for the first time, I understand why. So the first thing is the input. It doesn't tell me how much solar watts. Yeah, I got solar watts. It's not telling me how much input is happening. It's just telling me that input is happening. It's really not helpful because with the Jackery, it tells me exactly how many watts are coming in. And so if they're low watts, I can move the solar panels, different angles, different locations, and I can get that feedback here on the battery, and it tells me that I'm getting more watts. But without that feedback, oh man, just reminds me of imperialist sex where there's no feedback, and so you just have to guess, and the experience is just less quality. So yeah, you need that feedback loop to be in a relationship, otherwise it's like just a watered down version of relationship. Like, how am I supposed to adjust or pivot? So it's not as efficient. It does hold 500 watt hours capacity compared to the 300 watt hours capacity. This is huge and it's heavy. It is heavy. I don't know how much pounds 6.5 kilos is, but that's how much it weighs. So naturally, I'm panicking. On the bright side, the solar panels plug in just fine because there's not that adapter that needs to be fiddled with. That's really the problem that I had, was with the adapter. Oh man, I'm starting to regret this purchase, but it was an experiment. It is an experiment. It's just stressful because, in this moment in time, I have about $100 in my bank account, and I've been spending about $100 a week on food, a little more actually, but oh my god, yeah, at least the last time I went grocery shopping, I had to really, honestly, it reminds me of childhood when we were poor growing up and we had to eat canned vegetables. Oh fuck, yeah, I'm feeling stressed out. It's an emotional day because I've been here for 2 weeks waiting for some help, and I have received it, and I'm so grateful. It's just really hard to have such limited access to resources. What I'm learning in this trip is that the answers resolve themselves with time. So I'm just zooming out and telling myself okay, this is what's happening. I'm testing out this new battery, and of course it's gonna be different from the other one because it's cheaper. It's literally what I can afford. It was $320 compared to $500 for the Jackery brand. But at this point, I'm damn, maybe it would make more sense for me not to invest in this Rock Pals brand battery, but I could return the battery and then just buy the expensive Jackery solar panels, and then I wouldn't have that issue with that little converter piece, and I can get a consistent charge even though the battery is smaller. But I mean, this battery, this 500 watt-hour battery. Look at this little angel. You found me, amor. Oh, just when I needed you. Thank you. My love. The solar panels for the Jackery cost 300 bucks, and these ones only cost 150. So, the main reason why I'm crying right now, because I'm so stressed out, because I'm like, is this gonna work? Do I have enough resources? Am I safe? Can I feed myself? The reason it's so stressful is because with this Rockpals battery, I'm unable to charge anything while the solar panels are charging. So it's just gonna slow down everything. Because it takes up to 10 hours for these Rockpal battery to fully charge. It's 500 watt hours of power. And for my bike battery to fully charge, it takes about 6 to 7 hours. So if you combine those, I mean, I could adjust my flow. That's one option. Definitely, I need to emotionally process just the stress of like trying to figure new things out with like that real fear of like, do I have enough money? Will I be okay? Damn. And I keep telling myself I need internet to work, which is true. Like, I mean, part of my income comes from phone calls, coaching calls, which is the most easeful for me. It's the most accessible for me right now, but financially, it's the least accessible for people to receive my offerings. So, yeah, I've been working on making my offerings more and more accessible. So I went onto the internet and started offering like Zoom calls and group offerings. And eventually, I'm gonna make some trainings too for folks who want to go deeper. I'm gonna keep expanding that, but in this moment, internet is hard for me to access because I have to drive into town. I'm moving the solar panels. I need to drive into town to use Wi-Fi. And in this specific spot, there's not great cell service for Verizon. But I looked at the map of Verizon on the rest of my trip, and I've mapped it out. And if I'm able to invest in a better phone plan, then I will be able to offer these online offerings remotely, and that will be a source of income. But in this moment, I've got $100 in my account. I don't have super clarity on like when money is coming again. It's really unpredictable for me. That's the thing. That's the thing about the coaching too. When it's less accessible financially, then like I just get less clients. Like there's a smaller quantity of people who can afford it, and that doesn't feel in alignment with my values. Because I definitely want to have a big impact. I want to help people, be a resource. But with the one-on-ones, my time is so valuable and precious. I just can't. I've tried different pricing formats, and it's really unsustainable. If I'm not honoring my time boundaries like that, I can't overextend myself. So it has to be this price point because that's what my energy is really worth. But yeah, in this moment, things just feel so far out of reach. I feel like I'm in this scarcity loophole where it's like I don't have enough money to invest in the internet access that I will need remotely. But in order to make money, I need access to the internet, and it just feels so stressful. Yeah, and I've been telling myself, like, once I get up to Tahoe, I'll have more access to resources, because the Verizon store is up there. Right now, I'm using this service called Twigby, which is basically Verizon, but just cheaper. So technically, I'm not a Verizon customer. I'm just using their network. But yeah, I'm using the biggest plan that Twigby offers, but it's not enough for my needs. I can't facilitate calls. It's not enough data, so I need to switch to Verizon. But in this exact moment, I'm just feeling lots of scarcity and frustration, because the whole point of this trip was to like take myself out of this like really stressful rent cycle, which was like 80% of my income, so I could really deepen in my writing, which is part of the offerings that I feel passionate about. I feel a spiritual purpose. Like, yeah, like I get these spiritual downloads and I need to share them. That is my purpose on this planet, in this embodiment. I'm here to spread love, to invite people into possibilities of love and liberation outside of imperialist violence, this culture we've all been indoctrinated into forcefully. But of course, we're disconnected from that history, so I'm here to shine a light on it and remind people of who the hell we are, and to help people just get back into a relationship with each other, with themselves, with the earth. It's everything. Yeah, it's my purpose. So, even focusing on the writing in this moment feels really difficult because I spend most of my energy like filtering water. I know it sounds simple, but it's heavy, and I'm walking up and down this hill all day. I'm like filtering water. I mean, cooking with my little cook gear, it works, but it just takes time. I only have one burner, and my cookware is tiny, so it has to be light enough to carry on the bike, you know? So, yeah, just this whole format of living my life as a single person, traveling, it's very time consuming. Like feeding myself, time consuming. Hydrating myself, time consuming. Even bathing, time consuming. Like everything, it just takes more time. And in addition to that, I'm figuring out, you know, I'm planning my next steps, I'm planning the route, I'm preparing for the trip to be as safe as possible by like, you know, anticipating there will be spots where I don't have internet, and so I'll need to download some maps offline, and so there's just all these little details so I can feel safe enough to continue. But yeah, in this exact moment, I feel like just crying and giving up. I'm like, is this all really worth it? I know with time it'll work itself out. And I've been holding this financial stress for like years, for like 4 years. Part of me just like, part of me just wishes somebody would just like, I don't know, house me and let me focus on my writing. Somebody who supports my vision. Yeah, and like being in a place of housing insecurity and financial insecurity, it's been hard to like exert my autonomy in housing, because I like living communally, and that's how I have been living in communal housing. But there's always a power dynamic with the landlord. Yeah, and I don't know, I don't want to put myself in more situations where I can't be my full self, or I have to like socially perform for someone else, which feels reminiscent of childhood, like being like kind of like a puppy, like an emotional support and like something to soothe people's hardship in their day just by looking at me and petting me. Like, I don't know, man. I live my life so openly and so freely in my inner world that sometimes people feel entitled to me, or they feel like boundaries don't apply. Yeah, it's a different topic for a different time. I can go deep into that, but yeah, really all I want is just to just like focus on my work and deepen. And it feels so far out of reach right now. And I feel so frustrated. That's all I want to do. That's why I came out here. But I was just listening to the Moonbeaming podcast by this queer white woman, Sarah, I can't remember, Faith Gottesdien or something like that. I can't remember her name, but I'm reading her book too, all about the moon. Oh my god, I'm learning so much. It's been such a good resource for me. But I was just listening to her podcast yesterday, and she was talking about time and how patterns repeat themselves. So I'm just seeing this pattern repeat itself and seeing the frustration in the sense of like how I've been trying to like escape this pattern of like not having financial or housing stability. Really, I just want some stability. And queer, trans, polyamorous community. Is that too much to ask for? Is it? Is it too much? That's all I fucking want. I just want to live my fucking life. Somebody here on more? It's Saturday, so there's a lot of gunshots today, which is just like energetically not helping my state of being. It's like a chaotic feeling in the energetic field. All the ripples of like the echoes of the explosions. You can feel them like hitting up against my energetic field. So yeah, I'm feeling frustrated today. I had some hope that we could continue on the journey. I've been here for over 2 weeks at this point in this one spot. And I'm ready to go emotionally, but yeah, part of what I'm integrating is like, don't force things, don't rush things, because that will send you back into the panic zone. So part of the way I'm integrating what I'm learning is by slowing down. But there is this real fear about like not being financially safe, and you know, I'm living off grid, offline in this little patch of the woods over here. And I don't know, that concept of more income coming my way just feels really far away. So it's hard to focus on everything all at once, and it sucks that I don't have a savings. It's very stressful. It's not like I'm irresponsible with my money or something, you know? I'm not just like spending it on whatever. In order for me to even like make this transition into this trip, I had to spend so much money in the equipment that I needed. I didn't have any camping gear, zero. And like the bike I had to buy was $2,100. So it just feels like, almost feels like a game of Tetris. In a way, it's like an art. Like in this moment, for example, I only have $100 in my account, and I'm so grateful I was able to buy this battery. It did drain my account, I'll say that, but I'm just like, yes, resources. But now that it's like here and I'm experimenting it, I'm like, oh fuck, what if this isn't what I need? So I'm contemplating, do I return it right now? Like, can I make the trip with the resources that I have? I could adjust my flow, but definitely I'm not going to figure it all out right now, even though I want to leave like tomorrow. I'm going to have to experiment a little more with this big battery and see what is the wise next step to take from here. But it's stressful, and it's hard to slow down when I do feel that sense of scarcity about not having certainty about the resources that are inflowing. It's stressful. I'm joining this queer land project in Arizona in October. I feel super excited about it, and my intention is to bike there. And in this moment in time, I'm just like, can somebody drive me? I'm tired. Like, I think I'm done with this experience. But I recognize that as being part of my pattern too, of like, yeah, I encounter a challenge, and then I get emotional, and then I quit, and I give up, and I escape to the next thing. But I really do want to see this through. I just need support. It's hard to be out here alone. Like, I have a more, and that's great, but another human being would be really it would go a long way as far as like preparing for the trip, and just the amount of energy that it takes to like put food and water in my body. It's a lot of like labor physically I'm doing every day, living off grid. Yeah, it would be a lot easier if I had like local food access as well, like if I was growing my own food here. I mean, that's really my ideal life. That's all I want in life is to grow my own food like in community and share the labor so it's not like consuming any one of us, but we all have an opportunity to be in relationship with each other and with the land. And when you're in relationship with each other and the land, how could you exploit each other? You would have immediate feedback and it would be unacceptable. I hate participating in systems of exploitation, especially as I'm on a budget now. And now it's like I have to purchase foods that don't feel in alignment with my values, foods that do require exploitation of human labor and of the earth, of pesticides. And I know it has a negative impact on my body too. So, yeah, I feel like I'm grieving today. It's a lot of grief. I always like to tell my clients that scarcity and abundance exist at the same time. It's never black or white. So I'm just really feeling into the scarcity in this moment and also reminding myself of the abundance of like, I do have this big ass battery, so that's abundant. But also, is it worth carrying? It's really heavy. I might just return it, honestly. But in this moment in time, I can't even afford like the solar panel replacements I would need. So, oh, stresses. It's hard when you're under-resourced or when you have limited resources, because then you really gotta sacrifice something. You have to prioritize which is the most important, and I have a feeling there is no right or wrong answer. The answers will reveal themselves to me in time. I just gotta take it slow and experiment with this battery. Maybe I could find a flow where I charge the battery during the day, and then I charge my bike battery at night. That could be chill. It would definitely slow down the pace of the trip, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Right now, I'm just a little panicked because I still have yet to pass this stretch of 30 miles without services. And it's a really steep incline from here. We're going from 4,000 feet elevation to 10,000 feet elevation, which is a bigger scale than anything we've done on this trip so far. So it feels intimidating to me and scary. I'm scared in this moment. Yeah, I don't want to die. I'm scared of dying. And how can I be connected to my purpose if I'm afraid of death right now? Like, what? What am I doing? I need help. Yeah, like, it could be cool, hypothetically, if I had enough money in my savings account to just literally take a vacation and just have this adventure and then take my time, literally, without having to stretch myself trying to access resources for work. And I could just go to Arizona and then start working when I'm more stable. But no, I'm juggling a lot right now, and I'm in the stretch zone, flickering in and out of the panic zone. So it's a good indicator that it's time to slow down. Yeah, I've hit the panic zone once so far. Well, probably more times in little increments, but most recently I've hit it once here. So just 2 weeks ago in the new moon. So thanks for being with me in these reflections. This is a raw entry right here. Yeah. And it feels balanced. I've been noticing too, like, how I often will share my stresses after I'm, like, emotionally digesting them. But yeah, I also don't want to paint a false picture of, like, you know how, like, social media, you only highlight the good parts. and then it just like creates an environment of depression because people are comparing themselves to each other, but only to the parts that are good or like quote unquote good. So it's an unrealistic standard. So I feel like there's a gift in sharing my authentic, raw process. And I feel like it honors this pilgrimage that I'm taking because it's not easy, emotionally or physically. And I'm really feeling that. So, yeah, it feels sacred to document this and to be witnessed. I know whoever's watching this right now, we're at 25 minutes in. Whoever's watching this, it's not from a place of judgment. You would have left by now. So, thank you for being in relationship with me and for being along this journey with me. Yeah, I'm just gonna lean into these feelings of fear and let them be here and let them move through my body. I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna bathe in the creek with some cold water on my skin. And then I'm just gonna take it moment for moment, moment to moment. What else can I do, you know?